Okay, it was in. It was. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock. Please rise to the table for reflection. United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of February 26, 2024 was included in the list of meeting notice sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat Courier News on January 3, 2024, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of the notice and has been available to the public. It is on file at the office of the Borough Clerk. And I have a roll call, please.
Sure. Councilwoman Engelhardt? Here. Councilwoman Fasara? Here. Councilman Levitt?
Here.
Council President Long?
Here.
Councilman Parker?
Here.
Council Vice President Rossetti?
Here.
And Mayor Carroll.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
All right, we're going to start tonight with a discussion by our CFO, Bill Hance, who is with us tonight on an overview. And I'm going to stress that word, an overview of the draft budget that he has put together for us. I have not gotten into this in any depth with him whatsoever. So I am asking that the council let him go through what he wants to tell us. I have a few general questions for him myself, and then I do want him, and of course you guys can ask questions too, but I would like to schedule. Why is this so? I just feel like I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right?
That's yours, so far.
Well, because I'm the only one talking.
Well, no, God.
Say something.
Hello, testing.
Oh, yeah, this is doing it too. Thank you. I'm just gonna sit back here a little bit more. And then I would like us to have a special meeting, work session the following week, next week. I'd like you to look at your calendars and we can plan another night for Bill to come back where we can get into the detail, because part of this budget, and I am going to be asking him what he thinks and where, is that it is overcapped by about $35,000. So either he's going to have to make a suggestion about cutting something and we all have to agree to it, or we have to find it ourselves. And getting into the weeds of line items is something I'm not doing.
Yeah, turn.
Okay. So, welcome, Bill. Always love having you here live. So why don't you give us, where you tell us what you want to tell us in an overview. This is Councilman Fasara and Councilman Levitt's first municipal budget. So I'm just going to ask you, plus whoever's watching it or watching it on YouTube later, to keep it in the weeds, because public budgets are confusing.
Okay, thank you. So I hope everybody had a chance to look it over. I sent it to you last week. The budget, total dollars is up approximately 462,000 over last year's budget. This budget provides for the money that's necessary to complete the renovations for the police department. You'll see that in the, there's a capital line item in the back. On page 5, you'll see the capital improvements
Are these pages number? Is this?
Yeah, yeah.
down bottom. In the page number.
No. Oh, it's okay, I can tell.
So in there,
Capital budget draft detail, correct?
was the capital improvements, it just shows in the capital budget is a separate section of the budget, which includes any potential debt you might authorize. This is just the actual projects that we're paying for in cash out of taxpayer money. So you'll see it says capital improvements excluded from tax. We're continuing to put money in the capital improvement fund, try to build that up so that in the future we can do projects without having to borrow. We also have $60,000 in there for preliminary road engineering. 12,000 for fire department equipment. The $20,000 for office equipment, that is there. For the, I think when the construction official came and explained to you guys that they're gonna have to get this new technology where it's a giant screen, touch screen. I've gotten some quotes on that. That's approximately what that's gonna cost. It's for the, well, yeah, these are for what the developers or anybody building a house are gonna be required to submit the plans digitally so that they can review them, online on a big TV like this, that touchscreen.
It's a DCA requirement.
Yeah,
Through a rule.
yes.
Yeah, of course, that way they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish we could play that game.
The only good thing is we're gonna be able to charge the applicant or whatever, a certain fee to process this also. We're just gonna have to change our ordinances to do that.
Until it's paid off.
Okay.
No, it's because it's an ongoing, fee, like for SDL, the software that the construction official, they're gonna charge, I think it's $15 every time someone submits something. They're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
charge us.
So we got that.
So we have to pass
Like a
that
credit card
out
fee.
on, correct.
Okay.
Well, we gotta do.
Well, not really making money,
Not making
paying off
money.
the 20 grand it costs to buy the
Yeah.
fancy big screen.
No,
Revenue is revenue.
I haven't heard when it's coming into, when they're making us go through with this. They've been talking about it for a while. They've had a contract, they got a 5-year contract with this company. And that was 4 years ago. So they're going into the last year and they still have yet to implement it. But
It's a government operation.
it'll be there. If we don't spend it, then it'll just go to surplus at the end of next year.
The building improvements, the 250,000, that's for police.
That's the police, yes, so we have the $250,000 grant that we received, which I was reviewing this budget this weekend, I forgot, I didn't put that grant in. So it's gonna change, but it's not gonna change anything with taxes, because it has the offsetting revenue. But depending on which contract gets awarded, we need about $600,000. So between those two, plus we have approximately $100,000 from the county, that should be enough to cover.
So,
the bid.
since we're on this topic, last week I stopped in to see Bill regarding the article that appeared in CAP about Raritan Township being requested from the rescue squad $1.2 million for a new rig. And Bill told me that they years and years, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, Bill started. You just send them money every year,
Yes,
but you've always listed as for next ambulance.
yes,
So this is a blessing because as of last week, Bill had sent them over the last few years $215,000. So we're a fifth the size, though I think we do about 35% of the calls are in the borough, but only because the circle is in Flemington. And the mayor of Raritan Township contacted me yesterday asking if we had been approached and what our position was in kicking in money. And I was so happy you and I had that conversation, Bill, and told him that we were like, because you and I calculated that our share would be roughly about 250,000. So we're roughly there, which is probably why, because he said to me, was that actually line item in your budget? I'm like, yeah, it actually was. But earmarked every single year for that, and hopefully they've been squirreling it away in a escrow fund marked for that too, and not using it for something else. So, how much are you putting in that ambulance this year?
that budget.
Another 20,500?
20,500.
So that'll bring us to about 140, 240, roughly, 245, something like that. So we're just about at 250. So I don't know, if our 1/5 based on population or 35% based on call numbers. But I think, I mean, I really don't know because they, they bill for all calls, so. I don't know how you decide if anything is fair. But we're, like 1/25th the size of Raritan and 1/5 the population of Raritan. But whatever it is, I don't know if that 1.2 that they asked Raritan for is Raritan's share because they know they've got this $250,000 from us. But, as you said to me, it's a lot of money for a rig. It's like the price of a fire truck. So, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But anyway, I just wanted the council to know that, we have not been approached this year by them for a contribution for the truck. And hopefully it's because they know we've been giving it to them. Nice, flat, gentle, like this is the best way to do it. Flat and gentle. So it's not hurting our budget with a spike.
And we're not incurring debt.
No, and that was the goal with the fire truck money too, until it got rated, was to nice flat. So, okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I wanted to know more about that ambulance.
Yes, so then under the capital improvements, the last thing is the purchase of police equipment, and that is, the majority of that is for one vehicle. There, I think he said about $70,000 now for a vehicle equipped.
Equipped is 70. Okay.
We're also gonna be paying off about $614,000 of debt principal with this budget. That is under the municipal debt service as well as the deferred charges. The deferred charges of $229,000, that's just additional principal that we're paying off old capital ordinances so that we don't have to borrow money.
I also, well, there's a pregnant pause here, just for the new council members. You are more than welcome to schedule time with Bill and go and see him and talk to him about any questions you have and regarding specifics in this budget, or if you just need an understanding and clarification of how this works. If I can help you, I'm happy to help you too, but feel free to reach out to the whole council directly to the CFO.
And it'll be a little bit confusing too, to compare, if you're comparing last year's numbers with this year's numbers in some of the departments, like, the construction office and the clerks, because, we figured some of those employees in there. Construction, we had, retirements and stuff like that, so we had to, move some people around. Now we have another full-time person who's in the construction department. So that's why you see that one went up, and the clerk salary wage line item went down a little bit because that person was in there. The person was replaced. The group insurance, which is our health insurance, went up about $110,000.
What page is that on?
That is, should be the first page.
Bill, a penny in the borough in taxes raises what?
Penny is $58,000.
One penny raises 58,000. So to cover just the insurance increase, we have to raise taxes by 2 cents or cut by 2 cents. Cut by 110. So I just want everybody to understand that. That's 2 cents. Okay.
And we are in the state health benefits plan. Other than that, I know the police department went up a little bit, more, about $40,000. Some of that was for those cameras that they're looking to get, flock cameras.
Right.
Yeah, but
So we have an agreement. Well, we have an agreement with the chief that he's going to find a sponsor,
We'll put that on hold.
but he still has to put it in the budget. It's got to be in here for us to purchase something, and then a sponsorship
Yeah.
would reimburse us, and they get a tax write-off if they're a sponsor. So, but it still has to appear in here for us to spend the money.
The sanitation line's up about $20,000, and that's just because of, like tonnage fees that we get charged. It's based on how much they actually take to the dump and the cost per ton. And in the end, at the very last page, you'll look at the assessed valuation. The total assessments went up about $48,000, $48 million in the borough. And I think I sent you the breakdown from the assessor, and he's gonna do something where he usually gives us a comparison between the 2 years. And so he's working on that. We just got the final numbers last week.
Have you got our surplus numbers in yet?
We're still working on that. We're having some issues with trying to tie in some numbers with the tax stuff because of the conversion of the MSI software to Edmunds.
Oh,
It's been a nightmare, but we're working on it. We're getting closer.
okay.
So as is right now, the budget is a 3.9 cent increase. And that would equate to $39.87 per $100,000 in assessed value. So if you had a $250,000 house, it's about $100 increase in your municipal taxes. For a $350,000 house, it would be about $100. That's just municipal taxes. That's not schools or.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat those numbers so I can't write that down?
It's all in the email I
It's in the
sent you.
It is,
Yeah,
but
but it's,
I just wanted to.
Per $100,000 in assessed value, it would be $39.87. So if your house is $250,000, it would be $99.68.
Have our school liaisons heard what the school purpose is planning on doing or the high school?
No, the high school is actually meeting tonight. And school district's meeting Thursday, so they're,
Karen again, all going to come in May and present their budget, but you know, when I asked her, she told me she hadn't talked to any of the board members yet.
Right.
It was about 3 weeks ago, so. Okay. The county, I'm anticipating going to stay flat again,
Usually.
so. What else do you want to tell us?
Do you have any questions?
How much is it that we have to find to cut this over cap?
It's about $30,000.
Do you have a suggestion?
Well,
I'm gonna like stress this to the council. Bill does not opine on policy unless you ask him a direct question. If you say to him, put this in the budget, he's never gonna say, that's a bad idea unless you say, Bill, what do you think of putting this in the budget? Then he'll tell you the truth. So do you have an opinion on cutting this?
I mean, one of the things I was looking at was the police department budget, you know, if we could cut some of that out, if we, you know, if we do one camera or something in there this year. I don't know how many he's looking to do.
He's looking to do 3.
Three, well,
One
2,
sponsorship
well,
already, right?
three subscriptions, but 2 cameras. Right, because 1 camera was donated.
One camera is, so the cameras are 150 to install. It's a one-time fee and there's 3,000 every year for the license.
For the license.
So he's got one subscription covered in a donation of $31.50. And then he wants to do 2 more at $31.50. Then they'll drop down.
Wait a minute, no, did he get the subscription or because I think he just got the camera, I don't think he got the subscription.
So it's a license.
Right.
So it's a
He's got the
package.
150 whatever with the camera.
No, he told me he's getting the whole subscription covered for $31.50.
Yeah, I have to check.
Check that out.
That's true.
Okay. But that's only, even if we cut out one camera, that's 10% of what you're looking for. The money for the police in the capital line, that's just to finish the processing center, right? That's not. Does that include the whole, like the whole,
The 250, you mean?
when you said to finish the facility and you're, it's really just to finish.
Just the downstairs, just
Phase
the
two,
process.
2A.
I think that we just had to.
Yes, phase 2A. Okay. It's not phase 2B, which is the kitchen and the,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry, phase 2B isn't even in.
No, phase 2B, we haven't even talked about it.
Yeah, it's not,
So the
it's not even, it's not even
Correct, radar, yeah.
on the radar.
600,000 is for what was just bid on.
So even if we cut, like I said, that's 10%, we still have to find another $27,000 or more. The money in the police line item, and you said it's for one car, 70, plus the 3 cameras is 10, that's 80. There's it looks like I'm not gonna go find that page again, but it looks like it's 130.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of that?
I'm trying to remember, he came in, he discussed with us.
So it's the equipment to finish the car that we purchased.
The last year's car.
Because
Yeah.
that's not fully
He
equipped.
didn't put enough, I guess the.
It's like another $45,000.
Correct, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
So we have a car that he's not outfitted yet, because he didn't have any money left, so we have to add into this year's budget to complete that car as well as.
here's the slippery slope. This is the slippery slope. The point of it is those cars are old, and so the equipment is going on those, inside the vehicles themselves, plus the vehicles are kind of iffy, right? But even if you save the vehicles, the equipment is iffy, from my understanding. So my understanding is that, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that there was a new car that was supposed to come on board last year and a new car that was supposed to come on board this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
That's true,
yes,
right?
that is true.
Okay,
One car-
so that's where this bit, but the problem is that the car that was in last year was not fully equipped. So it's not really functional, but it's not fully functional, I should say. So now you've got to make that fully functional and bring it up to code, and then you have this new one that's coming on, you're gonna have to do the same thing. So my question to you is, do we wait and bring on the car later on in the year,
The new car.
the new car,
Like in
later on in the
September.
year to save, to give some of that money to salvage some of the money, and then maybe bring it on in like September or October?
Well,
What is, does that do anything or does it not?
so the problem with that is, in perfect world, that would be great, but you order a car now, you're not gonna get it until next year, the end of next year.
Yeah.
So,
Understood.
yeah, that's where he's looking,
Understood. So he's gonna order it now and can we get it?
probably next June.
Do we have to
But
have
we have to
money
pay-
now?
Yeah, that's what I was
Order
gonna ask. So we have to pay for it now?
No, don't pay for it now, you encumber, you have to do a purchase, order. You encumber the money, you don't pay, just like the fire truck. We did the purchase order, the money's encumbered, but we don't pay for it until we actually receive.
So
Yeah.
this is in the capital budget or in his operating budget?
The police car, that is it's in a capital line item in the budget. It's, so that it's out of cap,
So,
Out of cap.
out of the appropriations cap, not.
so I'm still trying to understand if you're, just work with you in this, so I get it. So we would order it, it's a purchase order, but we don't have to pay for it until it's delivered.
Right.
So it just has to be a line item in the capital budget,
Yes,
but it's not gonna be spent.
correct.
But the money still has to be raised. Because you're
No,
showing
I
in the
understand
budget,
that,
right?
I get that, I'm just trying to understand if that can buy time.
It can't, but what could buy time? And I don't like this idea, but is if we have him buy all the equipment he needs for the current car. And then in the temporary budget in January of 2025, we put in 2 cars. And have him immediately order 2
Are we
cars
gonna
for
run back into the
2025.
same problem in 2025?
If he orders it in early 2025, I don't know. I mean, as I said, I don't like this idea. We don't like this idea. I don't want him to get behind in cars because there was a gap year, I think, in 2022. Before I got elected, that a car wasn't ordered, so he's already behind a car.
Mhm.
So, I don't like that idea. But this is a problem because as Bill and I discussed, we've got revenue. You want to go over the revenue issues that we have, like where there's some shortfalls in revenue?
Well, hold on 1 second before we go to that.
Okay.
So let's go back to the police cars. Let's go back to the police equipment. Right? Because I keep hearing different things. So, okay, so the bottom line is that we do need to bring a car on board.
We need to order one.
Right.
We need to get the
But more
one guy
importantly, we
on
need
board.
to put the one that
Fully,
we
yes,
have, right?
absolutely.
And that's about a $45,000 hit, I believe. Is that right? I think it was like 45,000.
It could be, that's for the.
Yeah.
Well, that means the car only costs $30,000.
No, the car was like 50.
Okay,
And so when he gave us the number, we put, I think it was 50 in the budget. He didn't put in
You
the
didn't put
amount.
in for the equipment.
but you said 70,
That's.
wait, 70 will
So
cover a
the
new
car-
car equipped,
No, well, yes,
so it can't,
I think it's 75.
okay, so if this car was 50, it can't be 45 to equip it. It's gotta be 25 to equip it.
It's probably 20 for the lights, I think, or 15 for the lights, and then I don't know what else is put.
So you know what, before we do that,
Control
look,
car.
hold on, before we do that, because I'm not liking the way this sounds. Let me go back and let's drill down on this and make sure we have the right.
Okay. We can
Right,
talk about it.
because I think it's just fruitless for us to just keep
Okay.
going on and on. If we don't need to put the number in there, then we don't need to put the number in there, and that might be part of our cost savings right there, right? I'm not saying it is, but let's just be very transparent in terms of what he is actually asking for and how much it costs.
Okay.
Okay.
What other
I'll put that
departments
on my-
besides the police department, they had the largest request and increase, did anybody else have a big increase in request?
Well, I put some extra money just as a kind of a placeholder in the administrative and executive. So
That's us,
that is,
who's
the
that?
office
Okay, or,
for stuff that they need. I know we, need stuff here now with the code, your E-code and stuff like that. We have to pay for that.
You can donate.
Oh, yeah, I can donate myself.
So we might be able to take maybe 4,000 or 5,000 out of that. I would have to, I can.
How much will the E-code subscription?
Oh my gosh.
It's really.
Well, that's every quarter.
How much is it per quarter?
I think the last bill was like 7,000 or 8,000. Because we have not per quarter. I got a good bill the last time. Because they did a lot.
And what is that? I'm sorry, what is that?
That's all the ordinances.
they codify all your ordinances into the, so you can find them in one line.
Okay,
We are, but
okay, got it.
they just finished it the other day for all.
So if we do,
It actually checked it.
for instance, an ordinance on
He called.
dog licensing, they put it under the right place
Right.
in the code,
Got it.
because, so people can find it, right? So,
It is very.
I
what,
didn't realize that.
But we don't have to show it. That's that's,
We have to
we
do
have to do that. That's
gotta
not,
do it.
that's not an option. I just want to make sure that, I know that there was some errors that we had caught. So I want to make sure that we're actually getting our money. If we're spending that much money, I want to make sure it's right.
No, I was on the phone with him Friday.
What's the vendor?
Pardon?
What's the vendor name? It's not code system.
He's
360.
Try,
Isn't it called three? Isn't it?
it's Eco 360.
Yeah,
But I
I don't know
don't
if that's the vendor's name, but that's the program.
Is it general code?
Yeah, general code. Maybe it's-
Person who lives there.
On the code,
Yeah, but I do regulations for a living, so
on there every day.
I love
ordinance
it.
every day?
I know.
Yeah, it looks like we spending over $12,000.
When it's gonna go up.
The year before was only about
900 or 9,000?
9,000.
If you don't do a lot of ordinances. it won't.
Right. Well, if you get it right the first time, not you.
Yeah.
Not you.
Last year.
So
we did a lot of
what other lines like went up substantially?
I have a question. I'm just noticing, so for Shade Tree, it looks like every year, the last 5 years was $3,800, and now this year it's listed 11,300. I haven't heard them asking for more, so I'm just curious, Bill, about that one.
Yeah, so I was just actually gonna bring that up. I spoke with Sandy Baruki, who's on the Shade Tree last week. And in the past, we've given them $10,000 for shade tree improvements that we buy the trees throughout town. And we had a chunk of money in a capital ordinance that we've been drawing down for years. So she asked me if I could put 7,500, I think it was, in the budget this year to help pay for some of those.
7,500 more?
It's $7,500 on top of their regular budget's usually $3,800. So she asked for an additional 7,500 for buying trees. You do have about $7,000 in the tree bank, which is an escrow account that we have for buying trees. You can always use that first if you want to do
So
that.
we could release that money to them rather than raising it in the budget.
You could.
That's probably, that's from donations from people who have cut down trees
Correct.
or have been fined for cutting down trees,
Correct.
right?
I mean, it's good, but it's a one-shot thing,
Yeah,
Next year they'll be looking for it again.
right, but maybe next year will be a better year when we get some stuff online.
Can I ask about a specific line item?
Sure.
Every year I always notice like some pattern somewhere. First of all, I want to know what this is and why is this pattern happening? So on page 4, under Safe and Secure Communities Program, local share, and because the years are there, I'm just looking at, in 2018, it was 70,000. 70,000 the year after, then it jumped to 95, then jumped to 109, stayed at 109 the year after, and then 2023 jumped to 160, and now it's at 200. What is that? And what is going on?
So the Safe and Secure grant is our share of police officers that are in this grant. The state used to give us $26,000. Now they only give us $11,000 or so to offset.
Yeah.
So
This was the federal program started by Bill Clinton. Is this the
no,
program?
this is further back than that. I mean, this goes back to the early 90s.
What was that called? COP something?
That was the federal cops grant.
Oh, my gosh. Okay,
Yeah, this
I've been
is
doing this
that.
way too long.
This is
Okay,
Safe and Secure.
all right.
So obviously, if as the amount the state gives us goes down, we have to cover more. Plus it includes within there is the health benefits, all the, stuff for.
Are we, did the government, we're not gonna get, like, last year, they promised us all this money back for our healthcare that went up last year, because the governor allowed them to,
They didn't give us money back. The only thing they do allow is that, for you to put anything over a certain amount of increase at a cap.
I thought they passed legislation though, that they were gonna reimburse us for some percentage of what we went up last year, but that they weren't gonna give it to us until this year.
I haven't heard anything,
Let's find out, okay.
unless they're doing it through your bill, maybe, I don't know.
This is $110,000 more. I know we had talked last year during the budget about trying to find another, either asking the county to go in with them on insurance, and that was something that we had, they had gotten into a kind of a group
We
program.
were
where we
looking at
all
it, but they ultimately didn't.
They ultimately didn't do it either?
Nope.
I'm wondering if maybe we should.
No, because all of our union contracts say that it has to be equal or better than what they've got. And
Right.
Nobody's been able to beat what the state of New Jersey offers.
Got it. Well, I'm just wondering if maybe this year after this budget process, we start talking to people again, because it's been pretty consistent, going up a little bit, but this is 110,000.
More or less.
Yeah, but it was at least 10,000. It wasn't
Well,
110,000.
you have there's something that's skewed. $100,000 last year was at a cap, so it was on a different line. So you have to look at that plus, just remember that. You had a cap. It's right before the safety street, right after the library. You see the 101,000 last year, 101,200.
Can I ask another, I'm sorry, let me go back to police for 1 second to ask you this question.
Yep.
So on the overtime,
Mhm.
because if you look at it from 2019 to 2024, it was study, and then for 2 years, and then it jumped, and now it jumped even higher. So my question is, I asked this question, so for overtime, this is just the overtime the municipality is paying, the borough is paying, it's not what we're doing for road work and all that? So this is just for us,
Right.
for that much money.
And we have the same amount of police now that we had in the beginning of last year. We were short one cop until we hired.
But that was, right, but that was an entire year, right?
It's 6 months,
Okay.
6, 7, 8 months.
6 months.
Okay, so that makes sense for 2023.
Yeah. for that, which-
I'm just trying to understand why it jumped in
Sure.
$25,000.
I'm estimating it was because of the promotions that, as people get
But it-
promoted.
But is that overtime, in overtime?
No, but as their overtime will go up as their salary.
Okay, because here's how it, in my mind, I'm looking at this from, and this is where I challenge myself between government and private, right? So if I'm looking at this number, then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, is it cheaper to find or more cost effective? Cheaper, but more cost effective just to hire another person? And that alleviates that number, brings that number down, because bringing a new person in is not going to be nearly this much money. I'm just asking the question. Because I
I
don't
think
know.
like you do.
Because to me, this is like, why would you do this when you can do this? And your ROI is going to be better here than it is right here. Because that ROI, you can't sustain year over year.
The problem with that, yes, that would.
No, there's never a problem, Bill. There might be a challenge, but there's never a problem.
The challenge is if you have 3 officers, whatever it is, on duty, and one calls out sick, someone's gonna have to come in, that's overtime.
But if you had 3 officers, but it's not always 3 officers on duty, by the way.
Well, I just was.
But what I'm saying is that even if there's 3 on duty and 1 calls out, you're still covered if you have the right amount of people. I just think that this number is outrageously high.
Okay.
And I challenged the chief with this because this doesn't make sense to me, right? What makes sense to me is that if you had, and I realize overtime is relative, right? So it depends on the time of year, it depends on this, that. But if you're looking at this from a 12-month period, and I say, well, wait a minute, with benefits, bringing on a new person at a level 1 or a level 2 or whatever, with benefits is not going to be nearly this high, right? And so then that means my overtime, I should recognize the ROI in overtime because the overtime is going down.
But, you know, it's a goal and objective for the chief, you know, this town for 80-something years had a police chief and a lieutenant who walked the street and rode a police car. and
Don't get me
arrested
started,
people
Marcia.
and
Don't even go
tickets
there with me
and-
on this one.
And,
I don't know why you want to get me in a debate. I have no idea why you want to do that. And don't even go there with me right now.
remember my expression.
Yeah, no, I get, no, because I was, and Jeremy's.
So, I'm just saying, you know, you want to release it over time, there's no restrictions in saying to the chief, like.
I'm working on it.
But, having said all of that,
Because we did put for
so
another person,
you're
on,
gonna,
right?
you're gonna go back and talk to the chief.
Okay.
And you're gonna have this conversation before we get
Oh,
into
yeah.
this line item stuff next week.
Oh, yeah.
I'll also talk to him.
I do want to go back to Shade Tree and
We'll
get it.
talk to them together, because I want to hear what will go online now. But here's the point. The point of it is that I know we talked about bringing another person on. So, and we talked about when we might bring that other person on, which I'm still fine with that. But my point of it is do we need to accelerate that? Because I don't want to see this number next year. I don't think any of us want to see this number next year. I'd like to see this in half. Maybe that's not possible. Maybe I'm living in a pipe dream world, but you know what? If I say that it's going to happen and we shoot towards that, then, you know, if I raise the bar, then people meet the bar that we raise. That's how I look. And it's just my business standpoint.
Okay, so we're gonna-
Sorry, thank you.
That's okay. I just want to circle back to Council Vice President Rossetti's question about the shade tree. Is there a consensus among the council to take the $7,000 out of the escrow fund, which will eventually get built up again, to use that and cut out 7,500 additional money that bill put into the budget from general funds and use that instead, and just give them the 7,000 plus the normal amount we usually give them.
I say yes.
I say yes too.
Any objections to that? Okay, so let's do that, Bill, and you can keep that line escrowing open, because it'll get replenished.
We got rid of 23.
Was
Now
that-
we have to get rid of 23.
Well, you did 7 if you, if we're looking at doing some of the overtime. That- Probably do maybe 10 there, I don't know, base, I don't know what he's thinking, but you might be able to do 10, 15, or 15 there.
Yeah, and there are no other darlings we can go. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
What else is in there that you increased?
I have a question about something that was increased, just because it, again, looking at trends and what Jeremy said earlier. And this isn't a bad thing that there's more, but I just want to confirm why. The property maintenance inspection line item on line 2, it seems to be very, very consistent since 2018, and it jumped up, significantly this year from 17 to 28. So is there?
There is a reason. It's
Yeah, I want to hear.
because I told him to do his job and stop asking for forgiveness or permission, and to just do his job. So apparently prior mayors have all been afraid to let him go out and ticket and write summonses. And this town looks like, doesn't look its prettiest and shiniest because of that. And I told him to just do his freaking job and get this town looking better. So he's been working a lot more hours doing that.
So you anticipate, that's why you anticipate it going up 11.
that's, I was basing, it on the amount of hours he's been putting in for the first couple of months.
You kind of interpolated it out. Okay. I just was wondering how you got to the 11. That's why I had a feeling I knew why, but I didn't know how you got to
He's been
that
putting a
number.
lot more hours in.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not
I mean,
questioning it. I'm
the
just
town
asking.
needs to,
Go on.
there's a lot of issues in this town as far as the way, he could spend a lifetime in Robin's favorite landlords, whose name I will not mention here. It's like, Beetlejuice might show up, but, so, Bill, I think this is a good time to I do want you to just talk about revenues. We haven't
Can I
talked about.
ask one more question real
Yes.
quick? Sorry. So sanitation, I'm not proposing we stop picking up trash, of course, but it's gone up like $200,000 in the last 3 years. So is there anything, I know we're where we are right now, but like moving forward, is there any way to kind of like suggest people compost instead of putting so much weight in their trash? Or like, Bill, do you have any ideas or, on trying to curb that? Or is that a normal projection that all towns are going through?
Costs are going up. Just in general for everyone, but I guess you could limit the amount of garbage someone puts out. I don't know what the current limit is.
The current limit is what fits in your can.
Yeah.
What fits in your can. That's the
Everybody
limit.
has pretty much adjusted to that.
But if somebody's
with a
throwing,
lot
if
of,
somebody's, but if somebody's doing construction and they're throwing concrete in versus household garbage, we have no way of knowing it until they take it, for tipping, and then all of a sudden it's expensive, and we really don't have any way of knowing that. If somebody's they'll take whatever fits into that can, so you have no idea what people might be throwing away. Which includes construction debris. I don't know.
And there's a weight, are they looking at the actual weight? I would
Yeah.
assume that they.
They take it to the yard and they weigh it all, and then we get charged for it, so.
There was a lot of things at the league last year about both, and this year about insurance and garbage, and insurance and garbage.
Going-
We knew
it's
that
always-
was coming.
Garbage has been going up for years, and
Yeah.
recycling used to make us money, now costs us money. So, we used to make a lot of money in recycling 30 years ago, government, not anymore. Now, it sucks you dry.
I don't know how much Liz's idea would, really eat into the number, but it certainly isn't a bad idea to encourage composting and, anything to get the weight down.
We also have a lot of properties with very small lots that
Yes.
it's not conducive to having a compost.
not, you don't have to have a compost pile though, so I do vermicomposting with worms. It's literally a container that sits on my kitchen countertop. And it eats all of our apple cores and banana peels and cucumber peels, like, and I'm sure it's not significant in my house alone, but if every house was taking out 10 or 20 pounds a week, you know what I mean? The worms eat it pretty quickly.
Council Vice President.
That's actually a really good one.
Well,
Sounds like a newsletter. very well.
Well, there was
But
that
I
to do
love
that.
that at my house. I didn't even spend it.
Well, I know we're doing, Raritan Township is doing that through their green team, and they're interested in Flemington getting involved with that whole, bring us your household food waste, and they've been composting it. It does have a cost associated with that. And, I know they want to come into the environmental commission and talk to us about teaming up with Raritan, because Raritan's about to lose their grant on it. So they're looking for some cost sharing. So it's a good conversation to have, because I know that the Devore Farmers Market, whenever they're open, they collect people's bags of apple cores and whatever else you said.
And they're also set up at the Stangle Farmers
Oh, they
Market
are
every
too?
week,
Okay.
yep, so you can bring your compost to Stangle and.
So I
we're
don't
the
know if
Raritan
people
on
know that, so this is a
Yeah.
good, I
Yeah.
think this is a good newsletter article for somebody, right?
It seems to me when I remember when we switched to garbage companies, we did some educating on, when that shift was happening. But I'm gonna put Mr. Levin on the spot, Councilman. As far as the community garden, you're having composters, is that not?
They are installing some composters.
Okay.
I don't think it would be on a large enough scale to handle any significant portion of the town's.
Okay, so it would have to come primarily from the garden.
I believe
It's
it's
really- yeah,
mostly
it's really-
intended
yeah.
for the gardens,
Yeah.
organic materials throughout the season. But if they have any extra room, I'm sure they would love,
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, it's for the tomato vines when they pull them
Okay.
out and the rotten cucumbers and things like that. But it's definitely a conversation worth having is, how to save some of this money on garbage. Of course, we don't build any more housing units, we want to have to increase the garbage, and, there's also all the redevelopment projects that are only going to pay pilots and on taxes that should not be getting public garbage paid for. So, that is an ordinance that Mr. Corsini will be writing for consideration among council. So, all right, so can we talk, everybody done with the expense side? Can we talk just very briefly, Bill, about the revenue side, where we got some hits, what's down, we could do better in, so go ahead.
Yeah, so the one thing that didn't come in as budgeted last year was, port revenues. I don't know if that's, it's been down ever since COVID and it's gradually getting back up, but, it hasn't gotten back to where we were pre-COVID. We were collecting over 170,000 last year. We only collected about 89,000.
So there's the money for the car.
Well, I'm sorry, but why would Port
We're not
be
waiting.
put in?
We're not writing no tickets,
Well, nobody was showing up for this month.
right?
Because of COVID,
They weren't writing tickets to say that they were like, there was nobody on the streets, nobody was commuting.
No, I get that, but COVID's been over for
Yes. That's a conversation we can have with
it's
you
been a
too.
year. Partial.
Excuse
Excuse me,
But
Mayor.
there's-
Excuse me, Mayor, I'm glad you're over there. You gotta get out of my.
You want to be police commissioner, be careful what you ask for.
You're real. Okay. So I'm just trying, all jokes aside, so it really is because people are not writing tickets or they're not showing up for.
I'd say combination of both.
No, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
So it's
people
both,
weren't
right?
going to court because they just weren't held to it. And if they're told, show up for the Zoom, showing up. And then, yeah, there was less.
So there's no
Violation
repercussions if they don't show up?
Well, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's what I'm thinking, so they just
It
ignore the
gets
one.
that serious. Yeah, it gets that.
But it's not this. Obviously, I'm just
It's not.
asking, yeah,
I'm
okay,
taking stuff like that.
okay, gotcha, understood,
Thank you. Some day line.
understood, okay. So that we can do something about. That we can do something.
So in this.
And we're
budget-
down how much? 40,000?
No, that was pre-COVID, yeah, probably that, but, last year we had anticipated 110,000 based on how it was going, and in, I guess in 22, we brought in about 110. So it's down from what we brought in 22.
So we were at, what, I'm sorry, we were at.
110,000 is what we brought in 22.
Okay, what did
So
we
we
get?
anticipated 110 last year, but we only brought in
89.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat what exactly line item you were referring to?
the court.
I'm
municipal
trying
court
to, you're still on the
lines
municipal
We're
court.
still
Sorry,
on
I'm trying
municipal
to
court.
hear that conversation.
That was the biggest revenue
Loss.
loss that we had.
I think that was the only loss.
Okay.
You know, we have, this year, we're anticipating 60,000 for the cannabis tax revenue. That's based on their last year's sales.
That's just for the one location.
Correct. It's, yeah, it was only since August.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm projecting just based on the trends, you know, by December, they were having, $350,000 in a month sales. So if that trend continues, you can look at probably being able to anticipate 200,000 next year. Just
For
for the
for
one
cannabis
sale.
sale.
Yes.
The
From the one
location.
system.
Yeah.
Business sale.
So we get 2% of their total sales.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Well,
And that doesn't include the,
Licensing fees.
licensing fees.
Can we go back to health insurance just really quickly?
No.
Marcia had mentioned about, could you confirm that about the state, thank you, ordinance? Because it's like, I'm trying to figure out, is that 110,000 in the cap or not in the cap? What you had said earlier was that you thought that I'm sorry.
I thought that the legislation last year was going to give us
difference.
money
Yeah,
this year for last year's increase.
right.
That's an easy email to the League of
Right,
Municipalities.
but the other one is, you also mentioned in that same conversation just now that you thought that there was something that was the difference between the cost of health insurance from one year to another might be taken out of the cap. Okay, I'm sorry, maybe it was you. I'm sorry, I shouldn't point. Can you confirm if that is actually the case or not?
Yeah, if you, on, which is page 4 of your spreadsheet.
Yeah,
If you look, health insurance out of cap, last year was $101,200.
okay,
You see that?
yeah. I see that.
That's the portion last year that was out of cap. So if you take that 101 and add that to last year's,
In cap increase.
in cap, which was 610, so it was actually 711 last year, so it was really only up $9,000.
Okay, but isn't that 9,000? Can't we put that toward the $30,000 over our cap? Am I not understanding that right?
No, because this year it's not out of cap. Because they only allowed us to do that 1 year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was assuming that was the same rule this year as last
No.
year.
From what I.
So they
can tell-
tried not to, they tried to give us a break last year by doing that, but they're still
Right.
screwing us again this.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make
Go
that
ahead,
clear.
okay.
Okay. So there's $9,000 here that,
Unless
if they had done the
give us
same.
money they told us they were gonna give us
Right.
last year, they gave it to us this year, then. they're being-
And there's no word on the street that anything like that's gonna
I
happen.
thought they passed it last year to pass this year, so I just have to, oh, it's an easy email to the league.
Yeah,
Easy
yeah,
email.
yeah, let me know. Thank you. Just want to understand that. a little bit.
the revenue stuff, Bill, and I guess this might be a Kerwin question, but as far as like, commercial areas that had been empty, now they have something in them, did you see anything as a result of that? Did it change anything at all?
We might have to ask him on that.
Okay.
Or actually, by the next meeting, hopefully I'll have that breakdown. What he does is he does a chart with pie graphs and everything showing the breakdown between residential, apartments, commercial, and he shows 23 numbers, 24 numbers, percentage increase and all that kind of thing. And then I would also be able to tell, new construction, give me a number for that.
And FYI to everybody also, I did ask our attorney to review the abandoned property ordinance
Mm.
and give it teeth if it needs the teeth to go after these properties that are sitting there empty year after year after year. Bill, if we enter into the agreement with Liberty Village prior to this budget having its public hearing and being voted upon, the big F, we can anticipate that money into this budget.
Would the money that you're saying will be for construction improvements?
Yeah, right.
I assume so, yes, if we have a contract or something.
We have a contract, yeah. Okay.
I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, because I know, just so everybody knows, Bill is on a quicker timetable this year. So the state of New Jersey, we have to have audits every year on our budget. And every 3 years, the state of New Jersey does the audit themselves, and the other 2 years, Bill gets to do a self-audit. This is the audit year with New Jersey, so he wants to get this, I'm speaking for him, he's right here. He wants to get this done as soon and neatly as possible, because otherwise the state is gonna be,
They're gonna scrutinize everything anyway, so I just wanna make sure we have it.
right, done early enough for him too. So he asked me last week if it was possible to introduce this budget at our March 11th meeting. So, which is why, we're gonna have a special meeting next week to see if we come up with anything. I mean, I don't know if you can anticipate more in court fees for this year. After Tony talked to the chief, maybe we can.
Well, the problem is you can't anticipate more than what you brought in last year.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot that rule. Okay,
Unless you can, somehow prove to them,
right.
certifying.
Right. Okay. Well, any other easy lowball questions for Bill? Otherwise, let's take a look at our calendars. We could go fast.
I have two questions. Two different lines.
Are they lowball questions?
I think so.
Okay.
HPC, they actually lowered their budget last year. It's been 10 grand for many, many years. They lowered it to 7,500 last year. Had a very successful event. They raised it to 12 this year. I was just wondering if there was a specific goal they had in mind?
Yes,
Or is it that certification that they're going
Yes,
for?
that's
what I thought.
exactly what it is. The certification that
Yeah.
they have to, yes, that's exactly right. Thank you.
Yeah,
So they did ask for a little bit more. They didn't go to 15 again, but they did go to 12.
all right, well, I appreciate the fact that they went under budget last year and they had a great event, so I'm.
You know, like the house store,
Yeah,
that comes all from the.
I realize that. I knew it was for the recertification, but I think that they certainly deserve the extra 2 grand when they proved that they could bring in
Yeah.
how many people in the town, so. I
you
just
know,
wanted
great
to
event.
understand the difference there. And then there's an extra 10,000 for the planning board.
That was at the request of the chair to do some more ordinances for the master plan, as well as I think the extra, whatever they have to do with the recertification that has to come to do the public hearing and all that stuff at the planning board or HPC. They have to look at that stuff too. So there's nobody to pay for those professional fees but the borough, right? Because there's no developer paying it. So she asked for a little bit extra.
Okay, where's the planning board line there? In the,
Page 1, towards the bottom. Right above historic.
okay, great.
I think I have an easy question. We're gonna talk about dates, meetings and such. So you want this ASAP. It sounds like there's some more chatter that people wanna have. Give us like a sense of what's like, okay, you can go just this far before I start to freak
Well,
out.
the state has limits, so go ahead, Bill.
Well, I mean, I have the state budget document pretty much put together already, but it's still, you know, once I complete it, like, once you give me the go-ahead, I have to then send it to our auditors, and they take a couple of weeks to review it, so it's not like. you know,
But the state deadline on passing the budget is
Oh,
what
the
this
state,
year?
I think it's March 5th this year, so it's for the next meeting after that. So theoretically, you could wait until the first meeting in April.
Right, April 8th is the deadline on the vote of the budget.
Introduce it.
Introducing the budget, that's the deadline, is April 8th. We had to, you don't want it to be that.
Oh, I know you won't be here, or you'll be,
Oh, I'll be, if I'm here, I'm running a Zoom meeting from Houston right after the eclipse, so. But I'll be on Zoom running the meeting, so. But I really don't want to have a
Yeah,
public hearing if I'm not here. Oh, that's just the
that's just
introduction.
an introduction.
But I don't, I mean, if it ends up being the public hearing, I don't want to not be here for a public hearing, but.
I mean, if
Figure it
it
out.
was, March 25th, that's fine too. I don't know if that's probably.
So I will clearly state that I think having the meeting next week is critical, right? I'm gonna probably have some questions for you offline outside of the setting, and,
You know,
just having that open discussion with the public. Whatever the perception is versus what's actually happening, but having those open discussions and giving them the time for everybody to hear these discussions and what's going on will alleviate hopefully some maybe negative feedback. But that's-
well, we had 3 of those last
I
year.
know.
Everyone was in public.
I know.
Every conversation was
So
in public.
we'll keep that
So,
going, but,
There was no secret meetings between the council and myself and Bill. They were all in public.
and making sure that the public knows when we set this date. So that they're here and they know.
Well, I don't know how you make the public know anything when our
Well,
agendas are
I
made
know,
live and, you know,
I know.
so. Okay, so Bill, or the council.
The only 2 days I'm not good are Monday and Thursday, just so you
Okay,
know.
so that leaves us the 5th and 6th, and probably the 6th is better, just give everybody one extra day. How does the 6th
is
look?
not good.
Okay, how is the 5th?
March,
March 5th is a Tuesday night.
March 5th is good on mine.
March 5th is good.
Council
I'm
Vice-
gonna be traveling all next week. If you guys want to set something though, I'll do my best to zoom in anyway, but I can't guarantee depending on our reception where we are.
no matter which date it is.
No matter any day next week, we're gonna be out of state, so.
Right now, it looks like it's the 5th.
March, I wouldn't be available that night, but my presence isn't necessarily required.
Yeah, yeah, and if we do, there is a potential that we might be introducing the Liberty Village plan amendment and pilots that night, but then Jim Kieran would be here if we do, so. Okay, so we're looking at March 5th. What time would you all like to meet? Carlos is gonna be like, get me out of here, the sooner the better. How's a 6 o'clock work session?
I mean, I actually could be here at 6 o'clock.
You could,
Yeah,
okay.
I have a meeting.
Does anybody want to do it earlier than 6? Because Carla would really like it.
And I can be here right at 5.
I could be here at 5.
I could be here at 5.
You're open.
5,
I have a
Bill?
7:30 lunch, so I could.
5
either-
o'clock works for you?
I could actually prefer 5.
We push it to 5:30 and
We can push it to 5:30, it's still better than 6. Okay.
Is that
So we're
right
having
with
this-
everyone?
Yep,
Yeah.
special council meeting to discuss the budget right now. We're gonna,
5:30.
at 5:30.
So it's just a discussion.
It's a work session, but it is possible to also be doing, introducing the budget stuff. 5:30, that accommodates everybody, hopefully the council vice president.
So
will
that's on
be
the
here.
5th, correct?
That is March 5th, Tuesday, March 5th, 5:30. And that's the real budget detail, try to come to a consensus on cuts. And try to come to a consensus on the budget in general. And so that we can introduce it on the 11th. That's the goal. And we'll keep fingers crossed that we can get there. So there's a lot of homework to be done with various departments, council. And,
Got my order.
We'll just all look at it very carefully and see. I don't like nickel and diming departments, so it needs to be something chunky, you know, like telling every department you're gonna lose $500, which is not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is find something substantial, you know, that can come out. So, all right. Thank you so much, Bill, for all your effort, all your
You
time.
can email me with any questions or whatever.
Right now, we have removed 7,500 out of the shade trade. We're giving them 7,000 out of escrow. So hopefully they'll understand that $500 differential. And right, if anybody wants to set up a meeting with Bill, email him and he will work out the night, or call you and work.
So
I'll send you
I'll meet with the chief, and then when we're ready, we'll go with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather meet you together, rather. Let's keep it.
And from his standpoint, he probably doesn't even know the overtime number, because it's basically on last year, plus a projection.
He doesn't know, because I've asked him about it, and he said that you have,
Yeah,
but from now on, I would like him to have it, so that we can track it. I think it's just important. that we track
he
it.
probably doesn't know how much he spends.
Okie dokie. Okay, thank you, Bill. All right, so, next on the agenda is, a presentation. It's really not a presentation, it's a discussion. So, in your packets, you saw, a cost estimate, proposal with a drawing, of a parklet. So Warren Bucklinger was here in the audience, who lives over on Pennsylvania Avenue. His beloved bride, many years, passed away. So sorry, last year. Warren, she was an educator, and Warren has an idea that he would like to remember her and do something nice for the borough in her name, which is to create a parklet in the Court Street Park. The Court Street Park is a county-owned park, and it is not deemed for active recreation. It is deemed for passive music, etc., and nothing really heavy duty. Warren approached the county park department about putting in this little piece of park equipment. Actually, originally, I think his vision was 4 times the size of this. This is a top lot. It is ADA compliant. It's sensory compliant, all this other stuff. And this little tiny piece of equipment is installed is $36,000. Warren has been doing fundraising in his wife's name, and is generously donating $25,000 towards this piece of equipment. What the county would like to know, and here's the process. They contacted me and for a meeting. They asked me to confirm that we were basically in Flemington, the park desert, which we are. When I was growing up, there was active recreation equipment over at the American Legion, the ball fields, and there was active recreation equipment over at Rifus, which was K-8. Neither of those facilities have park equipment anymore. The only place that does in the borough is Tuckamurgan. So, I confirmed with them that we definitely could use more park areas in the borough. And they have asked that the council confirm, and we could just do it by a very simple resolution tonight, that we concur that we would look forward to having a parklet in the Court Street Park. The proposed location from the county decided is closer to the Women's Club, not near their parking lot, because that is dangerous for kids running. But over by closer to the parking lot, the Women's Club area, there's a Grove area over there. Apparently they wanted to make sure this thing was not going to cover or damage any roots of any of the trees there, because it is an arboretum. And all the trees are marked in that park. And it's a county park, so they will maintain this equipment. They did not ask us to maintain it. And the county will pay the difference and donate the difference towards this project of $10,000 to $12,000. So if we concur, I should say you all concur, the next step is the county will start to move forward. They have to get permission from Green Acres to do this. There, I believe there has to be a public hearing because it is changing the use to active recreation. So it's still a process, to move forward. Warren is having a memorial party, an celebration for his wife Ellen, celebration on March 2nd, and he is hoping to announce this park project there. So anybody have any, let's start with questions. You all saw the proposal. Anybody have any questions about it?
Well,
Go ahead.
when?
Well, I mean, it's the process. So, well, you know, government moves slowly, but it moves. So I'm gonna say, if we approve this tonight, let the county know. I'll call the county administrator tomorrow and tell him it was a go. We'll send him the resolution once it gets typed up. And then they have to go through public notice. It has to be noticed. It has to be so many days. Green Acres has a lot of rules about 30, I think it's 30-day notification. It has to sit, public comments. And there's no reason to think that Green Acres is gonna be fine with it. You just have to go through all these these steps. There's no way Green Acres is gonna say, no, don't do it. Don't put a playground in an area that already has a gazebo. No, this isn't a state house issue. This is it's different. State House Commission is when if they wanted to replace the park.
You know, what I mean,
I put a building there.
when they create a.
Yeah,
park,
no, it's different. So,
No.
no, this is a public hearing. It'll be held by the freeholders. So, so nobody has any questions? Does anybody have any objections?
I just want to say that this is directly in my backyard and I don't mind at all. So,
Okay.
I look forward to hearing children playing out there.
There you go.
For years, I've asked for another park. This is something that I occasionally needle for because where I live on Maple Avenue, there's just, they all have to walk up to Tucker Merkin, so I'm so ecstatic
It's not huge.
that our children can laugh and play and
It's
it's
not,
sensory.
it's not huge, but it's got a whole bunch of features.
Yeah.
This
Great.
one only has one side of this picture. On the other side of every piece of equipment, there's like another thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's really multifunctional. I think 6 pieces in 3. And they're really creative pieces of equipment. And then we get this, and then we get something on Brown Street. We're rolling, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, can I have a motion to, how do I phrase this? Because this is really basically concurring to the freeholders at Flemington Borough welcomes having a tot lot in the Port Street Park.
That's as good as anything, Mayor.
All right.
Can I have that motion?
Sarah.
Is there a second?
A little second.
Any other discussion? Roll call please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker.
Yes.
Council Fire.
Yes.
All done. See you on March 2nd, Walter. Warren, sorry, I'll let you know on why I told you that. We've known you forever. I will let you know tomorrow that this was passed and we'll send them the resolution when you haven't picked up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. If you don't have to stay, don't feel obligated to sit through this whole meetings after the budget's done. Okay, I have a couple things from my report. I wanted to just announce that last night, Open Cover Food Pantry in Clinton Town, with where Walgreens Pharmacy is burned down very tragically. And, they are seeking, it's a terrible thing, terrible. So, they are in crisis. Yeah, on Route, no, Old 22.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the North Open Cover Food Pantry, their equivalent of our Flemington Food Pantry.
Okay.
They are, the community has been reaching out as to how they can help, and they, right now, because they're in such crisis and they have no storage, they are asking, for, ShopRite gift cards if people want to donate.
Sure.
So.
We're gonna have a box here for that.
Okay, great, thank you. So
We
we'll have,
had a box for food and everything, but they don't want food yet. They just
not
want
yet,
gift
but we'll
cards.
collect it for them.
Yeah, I'll put the same box out, but we'll change the sign.
Okay,
For gift
as well as, okay, for gift cards, okay,
And then
so,
later on, we'll collect food and clothing, but they're not ready for that.
right, so Michael, we'd appreciate that advertisement, that's what we can, we'll take gift cards, one for, we're gonna store canned food for them, or just taking the gift cards?
Just take gift cards
Gift
right
cards,
now.
people drop
Yeah,
off shopping.
until they tell us it's a go.
Okay, okay.
It just needs shop right there.
Yes.
Okay, I also want to announce sadly that our vet, who's been giving our rabies clinics for years here, passed away at the age of 56 on Valentine's Day after a long illness. He was my dog's vet and arguably the best vet I've ever used. He was a very, very young wife who probably will take over the rabies clinics. At least I hope, who happens to be the council president's vet, dog's vet. So I just want to say it's condolences to the Tyndall family, long Hunter County family, and it's so sad. Chad was just lovely with our dogs here at our vet clinic. And just a couple of updates regarding Liberty Village. We are still pending that survey we discussed. To make sure that whatever they want done on Stangle Road is within our right of way. We seem to have a full agreement now on everything else as far as the amendment and the agreement and the pilots. 3 of the 4 pilot agreements have been written. The most complicated one is the one on the townhomes because it covers the low, moderate, and very low income besides the market rates. So it's a very complicated ordinance to draft. And our attorney asked for, another few days because he's just being so cautious about getting those numbers right and the terms right. Otherwise, everything's ready. We're just waiting for concurrence that what he needs to do or wants to do on Stangle, we can allow. So, but that Stangle part is part of the contract. It is part of the agreement, which is done by resolution. So it is possible if our attorney gets that last pilot ordinance drafted to introduce on the 5th of March. So just keep that, it's very possible. And then just as a quick update on the police building bids, our attorney offered to the low bidder. I just want to correct our reporter out in the audience. The low bid there were 2 low bids in the $500,000 range. The high bid was 1.2, and then there were 3 bids in the $700,000 range. So the low bidder, who bid 520 something thousand, I don't remember exactly, has been offered a tour of the building because he had not taken one, nor had any of his subcontractors. And he has not gotten in touch. Our attorney wrote to him last week.
And again today.
And then again today. And he has not gotten in touch with our architect to arrange to see the building and go through it. So he knows exactly what he did low on. He has also provided some additional references, none of which exceed $100,000. So we've asked him for more references that are closer to his bid price. So, and then I know there's been outreach regarding, whether he has any dings on his background from the Division of Property Management Construction in Trenton, which he does not, as well as his bonding capacity. His bond capacity, his bond letter was intact for our attorney. His capacity is $500,000. Our attorney wrote to him today regarding his capacity to find out if that is exactly what he has and if anything is out on that capacity, because this is a 100% public project, so it is 100% performance bondable, and he bid over his performance bond amount. So we continue to do our due diligence to make sure he is responsible to complete this project before awarding. So it's going to continue until we get sufficient answers. So I just wanted you to all know that. So that's my update. So council member reports, council president. Caught you off guard. We went up the sheet down.
Yeah, that's all right.
In alphabetical order, the last couple of meetings.
So OEM, I don't have anything this evening to report, but fire department, next meeting will be taking place on March 12th. There were 16 calls for service this month. And then I'll have a more detailed report for March, in March, I should say. Also, all members of this governing body are invited to Ladies Night being hosted by the fire department at Copper Hill Country Club. And that's gonna be March 23rd from 5 to 10. So put that in your calendars and I'll have more information for you soon enough.
Okay, see, I went to this last year and former Councilwoman Tilly was there and I was there. So I would really like to see other members there. It was
Yeah, I
a
wanted to
lovely
go.
event, it was a lovely event.
I wasn't way last year.
So-
It looked like fun.
And that's it. That's all I got. Little report tonight.
And you're invited with a guest, so.
Oh, yeah.
we'll get that. Okay, thank you, Council President. Council Vice President Rossetti.
Thanks, Mayor. I actually don't have anything tonight. Quick and
Okay.
simple.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
I mentioned very briefly earlier, the high school board meeting taking place right now. That's pretty important. Also, the Board of Ed meeting for the Fleming Raritan School District is this Thursday, 7 p.m. at JP's Case. And the museum board, actually, we ended up having too many sick people to have a meeting last month, so we had to move it, just move on to next month. We are interested in having more, whether it's board members or just committee members, if you're interested in helping out with the Samuel Fleming Museum and have any interest in that. I've gotten to know them over the last few months. They're just lovely to work with, and I encourage you to reach out to me and show your interest. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pissarro.
Okay, there we go. So library meeting, we have our monthly, well, we only have to have 8 meetings a year, so we had another meeting last Friday. Snow removal. We've lost our snow removal contractor and we've had to move to a new snow removal contractor. And that's simply because the old snow removal contractor is no longer in the snow removal business. So a little thing, but it's one that, of course, all their operating expenses pretty much were coming out of the money that they have on hand. But they, how do I say it? It is a publicly owned building, so we have to keep you in the loop. One of the things that I mentioned, I think 2 meetings ago, was we were having issues with the boiler. Return pipes on the boiler were replaced last month. We anticipate having to replace corroded pipes on the boiler in March. So really in a place where that just seems very old and it's falling apart. Current assets sit at $917K, which is decent. In terms of seeking advice, we're going to Old York boilers and they have to do the minimum of 2 quotes. Same thing with the security issue. So I brought this up before with having security cameras. We do have 1 quote. We must do a 2nd quote. The fun thing, Friends of the Flemington Library Makers Day is Saturday, March 16th. All are welcome, all ages. It's going to be a great program. I will make sure that I remind everybody in 2 weeks. The borough survey on the library, the Friends of Flemington Library, we still need a little bit of time in order to pull that together. We had a really effective, fruitful discussion last Friday, but when you get a lot of people together with great ideas, you're going to have a lot more ideas coming through. So we're going to take another look at this at next month's meeting. In terms of the planning board, this is something that's new and it's come back in the past. In the past, there's been a discussion of having a checklist. You'll actually be able to find this on the borough website tomorrow. We are going to explore as a team, not as any subcommittees, a true checklist for those developers who would like to come in to the borough, and that may help clear up what you need to do and when you need to do it, and to save everybody time and save expense. So I'm very much looking forward to working with Karen Giffen, who's our chair this year. And we had a great discussion this afternoon about some of the things she'll be bringing to the table next year tomorrow, you'll start to see some presentations, so I really encourage everybody to come online and, or come into the planning board meeting at the top, so you can hear these discussions. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Levitt.
Let's see, we had an HBC meeting last Wednesday, for VHB applications. The other reason for the budget increase this year was that, they are still working on the, historic map update. They also still need one more house for the house tours in June, so if anybody out there is interested, please contact the HBC. And the next meeting is here at 7 p.m. on March 20th. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Parker.
Just a couple of things. So, actually, I'll go in order here. FCP's retreat was this past week, which actually was pretty interesting. You know, it's the Dave handed off to Ally. And in my eyes, what Dave did was build the foundation, and Ally has taken it to the next level. So I definitely want to thank Dave for all of his due diligence and dedication and hard work. And looking forward to working with Ally and having her take us to the next level in terms of this community. And Dave is very much still involved. He's the vice president, Ally's his president. I just thought that was pretty cool for him to acquiesce and let her the chance out. So speaks volumes about him as well. Been working really diligently with the police department. And don't start. And you know, there's just a lot of work to do. There's a lot of revamping to do. I'm just looking at everything and looking at rules and regulations. I'm working with our labor attorney. I am working with the mayor and also the council president on some things that we just need to kind of dive into and kind of straighten out. Also facilitated a meeting, because this is kind of where we want to go, is community policing, and the police are walking the community, so business owners know who they are, and residents know who they are, and people know that this exists as opposed to just riding in cars. They did facilitate a meeting with the landlord of Stengel and the police, because there's some issues in Stengel. There's some things that he needs to do, and there's some things that the police need to do. So we've got a plan on how we're going to tackle this, and then we will, I'll constantly reevaluate and go back and get feedback to make sure that we're all on plan. I just think that's important, that if you don't have a plan, that means that you just plan it failed. And I don't want things to be thrown at these things haphazardly. I really want some consistency and some visibility. Met with DPW this week, and I have to say, meeting with DPW is such an interesting thing, because every time I sit down, especially with Ken, every time you sit down with this guy, you learn more and more and more. Some of it's very scary, but he tells the truth. He takes a deep dive in. He has a strategy. What I appreciate about DPW, that's Mike and his team, is, I always use the expression, don't just dump trash on my doorstep and don't pick it up, right? They literally give you what the problem is, but they always come back with a solution. Here's some of the things that you need to think about. Here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. These guys, this is a pleasure to be on this team with them. It's a pleasure. When you think it's going to be like an hour type thing, it's about 2 hours, but that's okay. I don't mind because it's just so cool. Finally, I just want to say, Saturday night was probably one of the best things that could have happened to this borough. The NAACP event, Black History event, was way beyond my expectations, way behind. We actually had, to count it, we actually had up to 300 people in that room at any point in time. It was standing room only at some point in time. But here, and the mayor, probably like 3/4 of the way in, the mayor was sitting, and I went by the mayor, and she just said, this is really good, and it's not political. It's just very, very good. And everybody's in it. She made a speech. I don't know if you guys heard it, but she made a speech.
Answer the question.
Yes, but it was done so well, and you got so many kudos for that. I have to tell you, it was on the phone this morning, and people had WCP was on the phone this morning, and they were talking about what you said. It was really good. When I ran for this office, I said, I wanted to do communication, and that was the newsletter, but I also wanted to really focus on inclusion. And when I looked out into that crowd and saw people of all nationalities, people of all religions, people of all colors, people of all, male, female, gay, straight, it didn't make any difference. They were all there. And I just thought, wow, this is like a dream come true. More importantly, when one person stood up and said, and this is how I know these people are coming back to Flemington. This is what we created, because there are a lot of people who are not from Flemington that were here at this event, and said Flemington brought it. So, so when I was leaving, a lot of people said, you know what? I had no idea Flemington was this way. So it opened the door. It did exactly what we wanted it to do. I am so proud of us, and I mean us. And I cannot thank this council and the mayor, and well, you know how I feel. This council, no, because I think at one point in time, Marcia and I were looking at each other, getting ready to like boo-hoo, and I was like, I'm getting away from you.
Boo-hoo in a good way.
Yeah. This council for supporting this effort, backing this effort, and showing up for it. It just meant so much that you guys were there and people saw it. And I did announce you guys. Susan, I could have sworn I saw you. And that's why I said, Susan, no, I know, but when I was announcing I could have sworn I saw your face. And then I said, well, what happened to Susan? So I had no idea you weren't there. But I'm just letting you know, I announced your name.
You actually announced.
Yeah. It was just so funny. It's like, oh, Susan.
I missed sick out. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was very sick.
She was for bed.
Oh,
She was
she had
really
the flag,
sick.
he had the flag.
But anyway, I just want to thank you guys. I think it's just going to get better and better. Every year they had a postpartum today, and they just kind of drilled down on something. They are so happy that Flemington helped sponsor this, and the council was on board with this. They were ecstatic, so I can't think of it.
It was a really good event, and I also want to thank Rob.
Yeah.
It was like really interesting because nobody was eating, and people kept saying it's free, go eat, and people still didn't eat. And then in the break, it was like,
People were starving at that
I know,
point.
it's like I couldn't understand what they were eating, but thank you for supplying all that food. That really, it was interesting because like I thought, are all these people here because it's free food from like Viva Mexico? But no, they were not. They were absolutely not there because it was free food.
It smells so good.
Oh,
Yeah. You
yeah.
know what, when I walked
And then
in
the
and saw
God
Melissa
food was-
Swingle sitting there, I was like, who's, and I'm just talking about
With two of her
party
children,
lines with two of her
children.
kids. I was like, oh, wow, hey.
Poor kids, they had to leave early.
It just was-
Her
yeah.
daughter was competing.
Didn't matter, they showed,
She had,
didn't
you
matter.
had a
Didn't matter,
Republican
they
free,
showed up.
you had a Republican freeholder there, was there, and,
Yeah,
uh,
a lot of political
You know.
figures were there, both Democrat and Republicans. It's just.
there were, and, and that's, I just, like, people were commenting to me something about being Democrats, and I'm like, I'm a Republican, they're like, you are? And I'm like,
Yeah.
how do we get past that,
Yeah.
where everybody thinks
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
my party is this party that does not
Yeah.
support, and, because it is certainly not the party I was raised in, and it's not the party I experienced, but,
Well, Princess laid it out when she said George W. Bush was the one who did the museum.
and that's,
Yeah.
and she is one of the people to whom I refer when I say, history, you have to be brave, because history is about telling the truth, no matter where it brings you. So there are probably people in the room that didn't want to hear that George Bush was the one who laid the foundation and insisted it be on the mall and got the legislation passed, any more than people in that room didn't want me to say New Jersey did not vote for Abraham Lincoln, right? Like, the truth is the truth. Yeah, and if you don't tell the story, then people tell it themselves, and they tell it the way they want to, spitting crap on Facebook.
Go ahead and
Oh,
preach
got
on
that
there.
in there.
Go ahead and preach on there. Go ahead. You're taking us to church now. Go ahead.
But thank you, Tony, for bringing in Flemington.
Yep, thank you.
No, it was great. It was awesome.
It was
Yeah,
a great time.
Yeah.
And there was some amazing talent singing wise. I mean, just amazing. So do you have anything else on your?
No, that's it. Thank you. for-
Okay, I am now going to open this to public comment session number 1. Robin, you had your hand up. You want to talk about playground? I'm sorry. But.
That's okay. So
Okay.
very quickly, at our retreat, we talked about It's really awful echo here.
Yeah, you may have came in a little late when we were all echoing.
I heard
Oh, you were here?
but there's better. So anyway, at our retreat, we did decide to up our grants to, for business sponsored events. Of which we were able to sponsor that NAACP event, which was amazing.
Wow.
That's a trick I do at a party, it's called drop the mic.
Yeah, right. What did you rank it to? It was 1,500, right?
It was 1,500, we're gonna go to 2,000, and in some cases we'll grant 3,000, like for the car shows, because it's such a prolonged period of time. And then the same thing will be true for our sign grants, and we're hoping that we can encourage new, better, cleaner, more readable business signage with permits, and a process. So that's really positive. The only thing I wanted to say about I think any active use of Court Street Park is phenomenal. And we've been thinking about doing, like a blaze pumpkin event for Halloween and starting to, maybe do some winter village type stuff. And the businesses on Main Street are very, they really like the idea of having a park so close to Main Street, and they think it will, have good flow, particularly with what's happening over at the hotel. So my only question about the tot lot is you can get a permit to have alcohol in Court Street Park. So I just want to make sure there isn't, that won't, and people have weddings there. So I just want to make sure there isn't any,
No,
wouldn't
it's
be
not
a
gonna change
restriction.
anything because you can also get permit for alcoholic beer path in the pavilion, and there's a tot lot right there too. That is
Sounds
not-
great.
That is not the county, that is not the county policy, is to not continue all uses in parks. So,
Awesome.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
From a member of the public. Member of the public asked what is going to happen to the old signs, because she was interested in acquiring one of them. What are we doing with the old ones that have names of businesses on them that are no longer here?
They're all being repurposed.
They are being.
Oh, absolutely.
That's fine.
Yes,
We're rewrapping.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
That was like a $350,000 initial investment. So the sign itself has a lot of value. And we found a treatment that is very inexpensive and will allow us to keep them current
Okay.
regularly.
Not because she
Yeah.
just was interested if we were gonna throw them out. She wanted one, or if they were for sale, she wanted one, but I told her I thought they were being repurposed and she was fine with that too.
Yes,
So, but I told her to ask. So,
yes.
okay.
So they should be coming down now. I believe Mike was working on it today. And we'll have we have a full photographic catalog of the 29 signs that we were able to find. And we will prepare them to be resurfaced and have a discussion about what the resurfacing will look like.
Great.
But it's all in motion, so.
Question.
Yes, get in touch with me over the Winter Village. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's been some talk started by just a normal resident about the possibility of having a true Christmas market or holiday market, but not a farmer's holiday market. No, that would be your friend Adrian Fusaro, Herbert, and a few of us.
Because I have
there.
somebody else who wants to do this.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to, I would really like to truly do it, just so you know, we have a lot of people in central New Jersey that head to Philadelphia or Manhattan.
Mhm.
We want them to come here. Why would you drive from Bridgewater, right?
Yeah.
And because I grew up and my formative years were in West Germany, and then being able to go back and see it again, I fell in love with it. So let's. take
Love
up
it,
on that.
Kindle Market.
I may call you
Yeah,
about that.
And that completes that's the question mark.
sounds
Um,
great.
Yeah, really thinking about,
I think that's a brilliant idea to put on the agenda, put FCP to put on that agenda and make it a big event.
But
Because it's
also-
really-
engage the county.
Absolutely.
And the reason why we engage the county is because that's a county park, and really truly getting, it's not this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's next year. If we start next month having meetings, determining how those booths look. That's why the alcohol license, I would like to see mouth-wide.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see different ales. I'd like to see the different meats. I'd like to see all of those things that are, you see in Philadelphia, New York City. We are the gem of this county.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a county, that's where I think it's a bigger discussion than just even us. the FCC.
Oh, I agree.
And
It's working with our county connections, with our Republican mayor, you might have some connections with those folks. Yeah, you might have it, you know.
I sit on the Cultural and Heritage Commission as a board member, and I was going to mention that they're bringing back a teen arts festival.
They are.
They have 600 kids registered.
Oh, wow.
It is at the library for this year, and it's phenomenal, and I think the date is April, it's a Wednesday in the middle of the day, maybe April 14th. But it's really exciting, and the kids are really excited, and so anyway, I believe that we are starting to work on doing things in Court Street Park that would be really special.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're actually, just so you guys know, part of the retreat was about how we're going to go
That is the problem.
Flemington or Court Street and use Diamond Nation and the banner in Diamond Nations to identify businesses in downtown and bring people in, because the Diamond Nation, you know, when they're there, they go to Somerset or whatever. So bring them here, but no one knows what's here.
Well, when
Right.
the hotel's
So-
open, he
so-
hands out sheets telling them, like, when they sign up for
Yeah,
sports tournaments, he refers them specifically to hotels. So what hotels is he gonna be referring them to,
right,
right?
right.
So
But
they're all
my point
covered.
of it is even on their banners, when they have the banners, it says that businesses will advertise on the banners as well, or it says something, right? So it's all about getting people ready for it and start talking about it now. And so, for instance, the event that we had last Saturday, I almost wish we had a list of businesses that were in town, and no one thought about that. It popped in my head as I was standing on stage, and I was thinking, oh, we should have done this. But you know what? You crawl, walk, run. So next year we will have it. And there's other events coming. Juneteenth is coming. So we'll use that event to really advertise what's going on, not only on Main Street, but it's in the circle as well, because the circle is kind of neglected, so to speak, as far as people are concerned. They just don't see it as a part of downtown.
Getting the Italian bakery involved in that too.
So that's the highway, right? Yeah. It's all
But they're part of the borough.
Yeah, no, it's all of, but it's also the shops at Flemington.
Yeah.
So it's all of that. It's Reeville
There's a lot
Road,
of
it's
it,
the shops
yeah.
at Flemington, it's downtown, it's all kind of connecting it together. So when somebody comes here.
I'm hearing Robin, here they want some Italian dishes and gummies at the donations for the
Oh,
food.
gummies.
It's a joke,
We went to gummies.
it's a joke. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you very much. Did we get the January 3rd meeting minutes? I don't remember.
Yeah.
They were there, right? I must have read them then. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the rework minutes from January 3rd?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Sorry, second.
Any discussion?
Just wanted to mention, it says that I was absent that day, but I was present. So if we could just edit that.
I'll change it.
Thank you.
You were absolutely there. Well, and you were there. wasn't you?
Yeah, well, and in the report, it says I made a statement, but it's just the very beginning. It just says absent.
Right, okay, all in favor?
Use the old one.
Aye.
Consent agenda, we have resolution 2024-23 approving the taxi licenses. Resolution 2024-44, resolution accepting water tank improvement projects. And resolution 24-45 applying for grant for Tucker Morgan Park. Can I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Perfect second.
Roll call,
I
please.
mean, I'm
What?
sorry, I need to pull out 45 for comment.
What? Why?
Because there's 2 words that need to come out.
Right, there are, yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
Wait,
So
wait.
we're holding, take 30, we're gonna hold 3 for a separate vote.
Oh, a separate.
Separate
Okay.
vote.
Yeah,
separate vote.
okay. I thought.
Can I have a vote on resolution 43 and 44, please, roll call, please.
Oh, sure. Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
so number
so,
three.
Councilwoman Engelhardt, would you like to make a motion for an amended, resolution 2024-45?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just need to, take out two words that were, typo, for lack of better, words. It's, it says executive site improvements, within the municipal owned boundaries of Tucumcari Park, which includes, but may not be limited to soccer field, basketball court, picnic shelter, and amphitheater repairs. Please take out the word sledding hill.
Right. It doesn't look that favorable on yours, but
Wait, where are
he's taking out the sledding hill in that
Take out
resolution.
the two words sledding hill on the resolution, please. Other than
What,
that,
what paragraph?
and that's right at the,
Oh, okay.
third, fourth, fifth
Sledding Hill.
paragraph down.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
can I have a motion to adopt resolution 2024?
Engelhardt, so moved.
Is there a second?
Long was second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes.
We have no public hearing, we have nothing on the regular agenda, hallelujah. Public session comment number 2, Robin? Anybody from the audience in the public have their hands up? Nope.
Marcia, I had one comment that I forgot to mention during my council
Okey-dokey.
council, comments. I'm sorry, the Samuel Museum House does have an open house next Saturday, March 9th, from 1 to 3:30, 5 in L Street. If anybody would like to come by, we'll be there.
What are we doing at this open house?
This is our regular monthly open house.
Okay, thank you.
If anybody's interested, come on by.
Great. Next, number 15 on the agenda is payment of bills. Authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $254,372.44. Can I have a motion, please?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Parker, second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes.
Okay, we have no executive session. Unless somebody has something that needs to be. Motion to adjourn.
Long will move.
Is there a second?
Parker, second.
I will see you all on the 5th of March at 5:30 in this room. Thank you so much. Hi.